Be it personal life or professional life, many a times we have to take tough decisions. Taking difficult decisions is an inescapable reality of life. When it comes to taking tough decisions, there are five questions that we could ask ourselves, ponder upon, or deliberate on. What are these five questions? I would go into it one by one. The first question that you could ponder upon is, what are the consequences of my decision going to be? Try to analyze the various outcomes, alternatives, and consequences pertaining to your decision. Now, when it comes to decision making, analyzing it and understanding what exactly the consequences, be it positive or negative, going to be is going to be extremely vital. The next point is understanding whether the three critical elements pertaining to decision making, namely data, information, and facts, are all available with you. Now, you may not have all the data and facts available. Nevertheless, you need to have maximum available with you. In case you feel that you don't have all the necessary information available, you need to step back, gather maximum possible information, and then go back to pondering about the decision. That's going to be extremely important. Since decision making, especially taking tough decisions, focuses on a lot of intangible factors, you need to be assured that you have maximum data, facts, and information available with you. The third point that you need to ask yourself is, the decision that you're going to take, is it congruent with your values, ideals, and with what you stand for? In case you feel that the decision that you are pondering upon and your value system, these are not aligned, then you need to think again. In case you take a decision which is in conflict with your values and ideals, then sooner or later your reputation or credibility would be hampered. So always arrive at a decision based on what you stand for, based on how you have positioned yourself. Don't take a decision which would be incongruent or incompatible with what your values and ideals are all about. The fourth point is trying to ask yourself as to who are the people who are going to be impacted positively or negatively by my decision. Who is it that would be helped by my decision, and who is it who is going to be hurt by my decision? This is extremely vital and sensitive, because many a times the impact of a decision is on people around us. So you need to act on it with utter sensitivity and ensure that you analyze who are going to be impacted by your decision and accordingly only move forward, because if there's a backlash, it's going to have a real tough impact on you. The last point is asking yourself, would you be able to live with the negative consequences of a decision? So, as I had earlier mentioned, every decision making hinges on tangible as well as intangible factors. Now, none of us has the ability to prophesize or look into the future. None of us are experts in crystal ball glazing, and that's what you need to understand when it comes to analyzing whether you can live with the decision that you have taken. So, what if the outcome of the decision is going to have a negative impact on you and people around you? Can you live with it? That's one point you'll have to ponder upon. And that's also one element that you will need to be prepared on. Now, when it comes to decision making, especially tough decisions, it's always best that you write down these five questions on a piece of paper and mention your responses on that piece of paper. I believe that many a times writing points on a piece of paper brings a lot of clarity to the thought process. Writing brings a lot of specifics in terms of the thought process, and you can be more clear in terms of analyzing outcomes effectively. So take a piece of paper, write down the responses to these questions, these five questions that I mentioned about, and I'm sure that you'll be able to arrive at the right decision. Once you're possibly done with the process, considering the sensitivity, and you don't want anyone to stumble upon that piece of paper later, so you can destroy or dispose of that paper. However, write down these points on a piece of paper, and I'm sure that because you have patiently sat down in a quiet scenario, written down the points, and analyzed each point and responses to each question in an intricate manner, you would be able to take the most pragmatic and realistic decision. So, my thought and advice to you is, whenever you are faced with a tough decision that you have to take, analyze these 5 questions that I had mentioned about, write it down on a piece of paper, including the responses, and I'm confident that you would arrive at the best possible decision and ensure that there's going to be minimal or no negative impact on yourself or on people around you. Thank you very much for your time. All the very best.